an amateur spectator.
I'm with Mr. Paul Houze, who's a dairy farmer, one of the principal dairy farmers. How many cows do you keep in milk?
We milk about 200 cows, and we keep nearly that amount of young stock.
In Ireland, population of milkers is about 3,000?
Just under 3,000, yeah.
And a similar sort of number in reserve, or less than 3,000?
Less than that, probably.
You don't see Jersey bulls much around these days. Are there many Jersey bulls?
The method of breeding cattle these days has changed quite dramatically, in that bulls on farms, particularly mature bulls, are considered a health and safety risk, particularly for those of us who employ staff. And it's much cheaper to collect semen from bulls when they're sexually mature, and collect as much semen as you'd need.
So how many bulls are there in Jersey, as far as you know?
I would hazard a guess there's probably less than 100.
But you haven't got one on your farm?
We've got 2 on our farm.
All right. So somebody has the dangerous job of looking after them?
Most of they're fairly young bulls, so they don't pose too much of a threat. But all our cows, all our milking cows, are bred by artificial insemination, which we carry out ourselves.
So you breed all your own cows, or do you buy in as well?
We breed in most of our own cows.
How long does it take before a cow is able to produce milk?
2 years. We aim to calve a cow at 24 months of age. That's the target. It doesn't always work that way, but that is our target.
What percentage of cows go on to be milk producers? Is it?
Well, presume if you can get a pregnancy, which is obviously crucial, and the cow calves for the first time, many of the good cows can give you 7, 8, maybe 9 lactations. Occasionally a few more, but again, that is our target. To keep
I'm trying to get to the economics of it, because you've got to look after a cow for 2 years before it produces anything. Yeah. So you've got to, what sort of cost is there for a cow? What would that cost be to get the cow to 2 years of age?
Currently it's costing us £800 to feed an animal for 2 years to get her to the point of production.
And all the vet's bills and all that sort of thing?
Vet bills, feed, labour, all the fixed costs that you associated with any business.
So it's £800 up to 2 years. So that's what the animal's worth in theory on that day. Yep. And after that, how many years does it carry on producing milk?
It really depends on the individual cow. Some will go on produce 8, 9 lactations, maybe more. Those are the profitable cows. Other cows where you see they're not performing like they should are culled for beef at an earlier age.
And is it worth culling them for beef? Is that a profitable thing?
Beef is not profitable. There's not beef from Jersey cows is not profitable. We do it just as just to soften the blow.
So what happens to that? Where does that meat go?
That meat is sold in the island. If it's an animal of a reasonable age, under 5 years of age, we could achieve up to between £300 and £400 for the animal, and that's sold locally. The older cows, obviously, which only go for mincemeat or burgers or what have you, we'd be lucky to achieve £200 for those.
So how many years of milking, optimistically, could you get from a cow?
If I could average 7 lactations a cow, I would be doing very, very well.
What's that mean in years? How many years is it?
9 years of age.
So that's 9 years of age.
But I'm nowhere near that, and I don't think there's anybody on the island that's close to that yet.
Right.
But that's our target, and our one of our main aims in Jersey, and indeed everywhere, is to improve the quality of the cows. And when you say
improve the quality, you mean to produce more milk?
No, to produce a healthier. That's to produce a healthier, more vigorous animal. Animal that costs less in terms of vet.
Because it is a relatively small animal, the Jersey cow.
Yeah.
So it's fairly lightweight. The capacity for producing milk must be, or in theory, or limited. It does produce quite a high amount. It does produce a large amount of high quality milk.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's only relative as to size. I mean, a Holstein would be the other extreme, where that Holstein would weigh probably 50% more than than a Jersey, but would give 50% more milk as well.
Right.
So it's all relative. The bigger the cow, the more milk you get.
Are people pushing to produce the production capacity of a Jersey cow, or is that not a priority?
Achieving very high milk yield just for the sake of it isn't really on. What we're trying to do is produce a cow which can remain healthy, and a healthy cow is a profitable cow. But there's a limit to how much milk she can give, and I would be very comfortable having a herd average of 6,000 litres per cow per year, and I'm very confident I can produce that from a very healthy herd.
We have a litre of milk in front of us, green milk, sells for £1.09 or so in the shops at the current time.
Yep.
Full cream sells for a bit more, £1.20, £1.30, whatever it sells for in the shop. What is that worth to you?
Currently we would achieve from the dairy, and don't forget the dairy farmers in the island own the Jersey Dairy, so it is our own cooperative. The cooperative would be currently paying us about 44 pence a litre.
Is that viable? Obviously it is your business,
it is viable.
But there is a subsidy on top. There's a milk quality payment which is still paid, I believe.
Oh yeah, the average price varies from 38 to 42p through the year. The average 44p is with the quality bonuses that we can achieve.
And that's paid per head of cattle or on the amount you gallons?
Per litre.
Per litre.
Yeah.
Right. And would it be viable without that subsidy?
Oh, sorry, we're talking about something else.
Would it be viable to produce milk if there wasn't that quality subsidy?
Well, no, that's not a subsidy. That's the money we get from the dairy. Okay. Right. The subsidy we get from government that would amount to 6 pence a litre. Right. On top of the 44.
Oh, I see. So you have around the 50p.
Now, if you're asking me, would the industry be viable without the 6p we get from government? The answer is a very, very clear no.
It wouldn't.
No.
It's that marginal.
The profit margins that are being made in the industry are very, very tight, and the dairy industry is about the only industry which subscribes to a scheme whereby well over 50% of we producers supply the states of Jersey with all our costings, and they're verified as well. So we supply all the costings of our business, so government can for themselves have a look at the profit margins that are being made.
There are many issues I'd like to discuss with you about the cow, because I see them in their nice green fields and I think to myself, there's a huge demand for that green field that the cow is munching away in. Is it economic for the cow to have the field or use it for other purposes? Is it economic? I mean, how many acres per cow is it for field in Jersey?
Well, our 200 cow milking herd, we run that on a farm of 460 vergees, and I cooperate with a potato farmer, a next door potato farmer, who would exchange for cattle slurry and manure. He would give me another 120 vergees after the potato crop.
So that's a sort of rotating cattle for...
And that's sustaining a herd of about 360, 370 animals.
So what's that, about 3 vergees per animal?
That's right.
And can you use the same fields over and over?
Oh yeah, the dairy industry can use land continuously, but in our farming practices we rotate the fields round, so that some fields are being used for grazing some years, they'll be used for forage production other years. So we'll be growing things like cereals, root crops, maize, and it'll be rotated around. The land closest to our farm would generally stay in grass most of the time.
Because I noticed part of the quality payment which the states make to you is based upon the organic side of the business. In other words, you're not to pollute the ground. And if you're polluting the land, or farmers are polluting, then they don't get the payment. Is that
Yeah, there's penalties if you. We have to abide by the 2006 water law. The 2006 water law is a very got a very broad base, and it basically there's an area in that law which is directly aimed at the farmers to stop ground pollution. So regulations have now been introduced into the island which mimic much of the regulation you'd find in the UK and other parts of Europe. So we're restricted as to the times of year we can apply slurry to the land to prevent any runoff which would ultimately end up in the reservoirs, and we have to manure our land in a responsible way, mainly to keep the nitrate level in the groundwater.
Who monitors that?
It's monitored both by Jersey Water and the state of Jersey.
I'm in very good condition. Very late in the occasion, should be getting a fraction of what this one can. I've got anything from half a kilo a day up to 6 kilos a day. So that's a huge difference. But don't forget, that's not all the crops they get as well. They're now going to go outside to their bulk ration, and they're concentrating that bulk ration. As the cows finish milking, the milking machines you see there are back flush, so we don't pass infection from one cow to
I wondered about that, because if you've got a really big enterprise, that could be a real problem, couldn't it? I mean, it would be bad enough here, but if you had literally 1,000 cows or something.
So once the cow's fed, the guys have disinfected their udders with a surgical device, and then connect the milking machine. So there's one machine over on that side to this side. This is rather than the other. The morning you can get it on the first part.